Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Still with you, and today's edition of Arab Affairs. We're now delighted to be joined over the telephone by our guest, Mr. Ramzy Khoury, our journalist. It's a very good afternoon to you, sir.
Good afternoon, Angie.
Thank you so much for your time, Mr. Ramzy. Let me start by the recent development of the Egyptian, Qatari and U.S. mediators that are to meet with Israeli negotiators in the Italian capital tomorrow in, the latest push for a Gaza truce. This proposed truce deal would be linked to the release of hostages held by Hamas in exchange for Palestinian prisoners as well held in Israel. How do you see this latest development, Mr. Ramzy?
This is part of the effort of all parties to put Israel towards reaching an agreement in which there is a ceasefire. The mediators are, of course, mediating. But the others who are meeting and the others who are pushing, the intelligence agencies of the agency of the USA, and these people have had enough of this ongoing genocide, the ongoing massacres, the fact that the Palestinians are actually starving to death and starvation is being used as a weapon against civilians. All of these accumulating war crimes are becoming a very heavy burden, whether it's for the American administration or for Europe. And we are starting to see a shift in terms of how to deal with Israel on this, and this is very important. It's late, of course. Here we are, pretty much in our 10th month of these atrocities, and yet nobody can force Israel to stop it. Israel has not paid the price. It feels total impunity. And therefore there is a very big problem, and it's very difficult for all of these governments to justify this in front of their own people.
Indeed. Mr. Ramzy, we're seeing, reports that Egypt is insisting, as you said, on an immediate ceasefire as part of the agreement. Also, the ensuring of entry of humanitarian aid and safeguarding the freedom of movement of civilians in the Palestinian territory. Yet on the other side, we're seeing the Israeli military telling Palestinians to temporarily evacuate, the southern neighborhood of Gaza's Khan Yunis region, which, is where they already reallocated the refugees to the humanitarian area there. How do you see this, contradiction of behavior?
There is no question that the Israeli government does not want a ceasefire. Netanyahu does not want a ceasefire. If Netanyahu can get away with it, he is going to procrastinate until, as he hopes, Trump wins the elections in the USA. And therefore, he believes if Trump does that, then if he does win, then Netanyahu is going to get everything he wants, including completing the job of ethnic cleansing, not just in Gaza, but also in the West Bank. So this is what Netanyahu is hoping for. Netanyahu may wish or go ahead and be forced into a temporary ceasefire, but he needs to know that he can go back to war and he can go back to his project just after the end of that temporary ceasefire. And the Palestinians are very aware of this. So the Palestinians are clear about their demand that it has to be a permanent ceasefire. There needs to be a certain level of guarantee attached to this, because Israel can easily, just like it does all the time, come up with the excuses to go back to war.
I see. Now, Mr. Ramzy, Cairo also said it needs to see a complete Israeli withdrawal from the Rafah crossing connecting Gaza to Egypt, and also to allow the facilitation of delivery of the much-needed humanitarian aid and assistance to the Palestinians. How important do you see this demand, Mr. Ramzy?
It's vital.
Yes. Because
if Israel is going to continue to control the borders, then we should expect starvation to be a weapon against civilians on a very long-term level. So it cannot be totally in the hands of Israel, and if the borders are all in the hands of Israel, because Gaza only has one border that is not with Israel, and that is the border with Egypt. So to have some kind, to have Israel out of that area is vital for the survival of the Palestinian people. The genocide otherwise will continue. If it's not through the massacres that are conducted every day, and today there was a very big massacre.
Yes.
Some Palestinians have even fled to sleep in the graveyards, thinking that these are not targets, and Israel bombed them today and killed somebody there. So Israel, even if that stops, genocide could be conducted through starvation. Genocide could be conducted through lack of medicine supplies. Genocide could be not allowing people who need treatment that is not available in Gaza to cross the borders into Egypt to receive that treatment. We have a very big problem with cancer patients right now who are not receiving their treatment. These people are being killed because of this, and therefore the border and an Egyptian-Palestinian border without Israeli presence is vital in the future.
Absolutely. Now, Mr. Ramzy, we've seen the United Nations and other humanitarian officials accusing Israel of using disproportionate force in this war, yet Israel has obviously denied that, yet the numbers, tell a different story. Even though this accusation has been made, what is being done to follow up on it or to prevent it even?
Absolutely nothing, and this is where the problem is. And this fact that there was a lot of hot talk. The whole world knows what Israel is doing, and the whole world knows that Israel is lying, and the whole world saw the farce that happened in Congress a couple of days ago, when Congress gave standing ovations to Netanyahu, a war criminal by any standard, by any international legal standard. And yet, all of this, what it does is that it weakens the whole structure of international law. NG, it is vital that we have a United Nations that is effective.
Yes.
It is vital that we have higher courts of justice that are legitimate and effective. And what the West is doing in terms of their double standards, in terms of their selective application of the law when it comes to Israel, is that they are weakening the whole structure of this international institutional system that has been built after the World War II in order to stop a World War III. And if you weaken that, then what you are doing is you are really endangering the security of, at a global level. And this is extremely dangerous. And why is this happening? For the eyes of a radical right-wing government in Israel, the other issue that is extremely important, NG, whereas at the official level in the West, we are seeing all of these discrepancies, and we are seeing this lack of action, and we are seeing the double standards and all of that. At the popular level, we are seeing the streets in every European country, in the USA, in total support of the Palestinian cause. We are seeing many more Jewish voices coming out and saying Israel does not represent them, Zionism does not represent them. So we are seeing all of this happening. And governments at the end of the day in the West are going to have to concede to the wishes of their own people. So if Israel is betting on the long-term continuity of this farce that is going on right now, Israel is wrong. I doubt that this can continue for very long. I think that European and the American government will start paying a price. Kamala Harris, who is hoping to win elections, has totally changed the language of the administration in terms of what is going on in Palestine and what Israel is doing. Why? Because she needs to unify her party. Her party is very badly divided over the Palestinian issue. it has become very clear to the administration that the Palestinian issue is actually a factor in whether people are going to elect the Democrats or the Republicans. And therefore, she really needs to take that into account, and she has already started taking action.
Yes.
All of this, Israel is going to pay the price for.
Absolutely. Finally, Mr. Ramzy, we've seen the British new government saying it was dropping its predecessor's query of the International Criminal Court's jurisdiction to issue an arrest warrant for the Israeli Prime Minister as well as his defense minister. How do you see this latest development?
A very important development, Angie, and it's right within the realm that we were discussing in the USA. The new Labour Party is also very badly divided. Only the majority of members of the Labour Party are pro-Palestinian, and they want an end to whatever the British government is doing to support the genocide. So Starmer, who is not a friend of Palestine, we have to remember that Starmer was pretty much appointed by the Jewish lobby, by the Zionist lobby in the UK, and when they removed the leader of the Labour Party, Jeremy Corbyn, and on accusations of anti-Semitism, Starmer was appointed, and then Starmer fired and kicked out Jeremy Corbyn from the Labour Party, along with hundreds of pro-Palestinians, ardent pro-Palestinian members of the Labour Party.
Yes.
So this is Starmer. So when you see Starmer having to do this, then you realize exactly what kind of pressure is being placed on Starmer from within his own party and from within British society in general. Even people who are not supporters of the Labour Party are people who are supporters of Palestine. This amount of pressure is so strong that a new leader in the UK, who is not running elections tomorrow or the day after, like what's going on in the USA, has to take steps back on supporting Israel, and I think that we're going to see a lot of this happening in Europe, not just in the UK, but all over Europe.
Absolutely.
And this is why I say that Israel, on the long term, is the loser, and a lot of Israelis have already realized this, and are demanding a change of government, a change of track, a change of direction, and we're going to see more of this happening inside Israeli society also.
Absolutely. On that note, I'm afraid I've run out of time, but I'd like to thank you very, very much, Mr. Ramzy Khoury, our journalist and our guest for the afternoon. Thank you so much, sir, for your time and your insight. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, we wrap up today's edition of Arab Affairs. I'm Angie Meher. Thank you for joining us.